There's a photograph from 1988 that barely anyone remembers. An 18-year-old girl at a party holding a demo tape, standing across the room from a man in a suit who could change her life.
Did you think you were in love in the beginning? Because you said, I intended to be married to Tommy for the rest of my life.
She hands it over. He leaves. Within minutes, he's in his limo pressing play, and what happens next launches one of the biggest voices in music history. But what most people don't know is that the same man who discovered her would spend the next decade turning success into surveillance, a mansion into a prison, and a marriage into something that required an escape plan.
Life.
In the very beginning, I did feel protected by him. I definitely felt that we had a bond in music, for sure. I felt that he believed in me, and that was huge. I didn't feel that support as a person, though. Like, I didn't feel like he got the fact that I was also, you know, a human being with my own feelings and thoughts and needs. You know, even before the actual marriage, the relationship was already so skewed, meaning the power dynamics were never what they should have been in a real relationship. It's ironic, you know, my voice was being heard by millions of people, you know, on a label that he controlled, but my actual voice as a woman, as a human being, was really kind of shushed, you know, and not encouraged. If I hadn't emerged from that, I don't know what I would be.
Do you believe that there would be the Mariah Carey who is a huge success that we know you to be today without Tommy Mottola? Of course you'd be Mariah Carey, but would you be at this level?
Yes. Well, I always believed that this would happen.
Did you?
So I did. I always had that feeling because I had to feel that I could surpass where I came from, that I could overcome.
This is Mariah Carey, before the butterfly, before the comeback, before freedom. A teenager with a 5-octave range who learned that fame doesn't always open doors. Sometimes it locks them. Born on March 27, 1969 in Huntington, New York, to Alfred Roy Carey, a black Venezuelan man, and Patricia Hickey, an Irish-American opera singer. Her biracial family faced harassment so brutal that neighbors poisoned their dog and set their car on fire. After her parents divorced when she was 3, Mariah moved frequently with her mother and struggled to find acceptance anywhere. At school, white classmates cornered her at a sleepover in the Hamptons and repeatedly used racial slurs against her. Her mother's family shunned them because of racial prejudice. She didn't feel white enough for white spaces or black enough for black spaces. Music became the only place where none of that mattered.
And what tells you that inside?
Because I believed it since I was 4 years old, and because I'm a very determined person, and because my mother taught me to believe that, to not say if I make it, to say when I make it, and because I work harder than anybody I know, and I never would have given.
Her mother, trained in opera, recognized Mariah's vocal gift early and gave her lessons. By high school, Mariah was skipping classes to record demos as a session singer, earning money from producers who needed a voice that could handle any range. After graduation, she moved to New York City and worked multiple jobs while chasing a dream that felt impossibly far away. The break came through Brenda K. Starr, a freestyle singer who hired Mariah as a backup vocalist and brought her to industry events. At one December 1988 party, Mariah handed her demo to Tommy Mottola, the 40-year-old CEO of Columbia Records. He left, played it in his limo, and immediately ordered his driver to turn around. She had already disappeared into the night. After a frantic search, he found her, signed her to Columbia, and positioned her as the label's top priority.
For all radio stations, that was the song, Vision of Love.
It felt incredible, especially because I wrote the song to know that people were enjoying it, you know, and getting something out of it when I put so much into writing it, and it's a very emotional.
What followed looked like a dream from the outside. Her debut album dropped in 1990, and her first 5 singles all hit #1 on the Billboard Hot 100. Vision of Love, Love Takes Time, Someday, I Don't Want to Cry. Emotions. Critics compared her to Whitney Houston and Aretha Franklin. Grammy Awards followed. The former demo singer became a star almost overnight. But behind the success sat an imbalance no one talked about. Tommy Mottola was 21 years older, the boss of her label, and he began courting her soon after the ink dried on her contract. She was young and new to the business. He was a seasoned executive who held the keys to her career. She initially saw a mentor or guardian. He saw someone to shape. After years of dating, they married on June 5, 1993, in a ceremony that cost $500,000 at St. Thomas Church in New York City. Guests included Barbra Streisand, Billy Joel, Ozzy Osbourne, Bruce Springsteen, and Robert De Niro, who served as Tommy's best man. Cameras captured the fairy tale spectacle. Mariah later said she hoped marriage might soften his grip. Instead, it tightened. They moved into a custom-built mansion on a 51-acre estate in Bedford, New York. Mariah insisted on contributing financially to the property because she had watched her mother get kicked out of a boyfriend's home once and vowed no man would ever do that to her. The irony arrived fast. She began calling the estate 𝐀𝐨𝐿, named after New York's maximum security prison, because that's what it felt like. The house had motion-sensitive cameras monitoring rooms and hallways. Armed guards patrolled the grounds at all hours. On paper, this was security. In practice, it was control. Mariah could not leave without Tommy's approval. Not for fast food, not to see friends, not for errands. To make a private phone call, she hid in her shoe closet, out of camera range. An intercom system carried his voice through the mansion at any hour, asking where she was and what she was doing. Schedules were set for her. Rooms felt watched even when empty. Doors became obstacles to clear, not thresholds to cross.
Mariah, is it true you don't acknowledge the passing of time?
That is true.
Visitors sensed the tension immediately. During one recording session, Mariah and rapper Da Brat slipped out for Burger King. When Tommy realized she had left the property, he went into a panic and dispatched armed guards as if a prisoner had escaped. Da Brat stared in disbelief and told her directly, "If you can't be free to go to Burger King when you want, you don't have anything, and you need to get out." The message landed. Mariah lived with constant anxiety, never knowing what might set him off. A joke at the wrong time, a late return from the studio, a phone call that lasted too long. Any spark could light the fuse. She learned to plan casual moments like covert missions, only to discover they could be canceled without warning.
Well, when he's very involved with someone's career, as he is with a lot of the artists on the label now, myself not included, he can be a very helpful force because he's very good at what he does.
Control reached into the music itself. From the start, Tommy pushed a polished pop image aimed at the broadest, whitest audience possible. Mariah's instincts, shaped by R&B and hip-hop, clashed with that plan. Songs were smoothed to fit adult contemporary radio. Even her appearance was policed. He discouraged her from straightening her natural curls because he thought it made her look too urban. The public saw a conservative balladeer, the perfect pop princess, beautiful and demure. Inside the house, the pressure built.
The neck, you know what I mean? It was like sort of, I would fight, but I would always give in because it was easier than just having a constant battle.
Were you a bird
At a
in a
dinner with
cage?
Sony executives, someone asked Mariah what she thought of Sean Combs, then known as Puff Daddy. She praised him as the future of music. Tommy erupted, slammed his fist on the table, and announced that Thanksgiving was canceled. Later, he sneered that Puffy would be shining his shoes in 2 years. She spoke up rarely after that because challenging him usually brought more anger. By 1995, she began pushing back through the music itself. She insisted on a fantasy remix with Ol' Dirty Bastard from Wu-Tang Clan. He relented, unhappy about it. The record became a massive crossover hit, a landmark blend of pop and hip-hop. Still, he warned her she was getting too urban. The emotional battering matched the creative fights. When her glam team compiled a scrapbook of fan letters and celebrity notes, including one from teen star Joey Lawrence, Tommy found it, tore it up, and burned it in the fireplace before she could see it. The fear could turn physical in an instant. As the marriage unraveled, Tommy and 2 male colleagues cornered Mariah at a dinner table. He picked up a butter knife, pressed the flat edge to her right cheek, and dragged it slowly down her face and along her throat. He didn't cut her, he didn't need to. The threat said everything. She sat frozen while the men watched. It was the last performance with her as the captive audience at 𝐀𝐨𝐿.
It's ironic, my voice was being heard by millions of people, on a label that he controlled, but my actual voice as a woman, as a human being, was really kind of shushed, and not encouraged.
After that night, the stakes felt plain. If she stayed, the walls would close in completely. If she left, the fight would move to another field. Contracts, radio, charts. Either way, the decision would define her life. By 1996, the tension had reached a breaking point. A therapist warned Tommy that his grip would cost him his wife. He allowed her to take acting classes. Mariah turned that small opening into a plan. She rented a secret apartment next door to her acting coach. After class, she would say she was too tired to drive back and would stay with the teacher, then slip into her own space. Her first quiet nights without cameras, guards, or intercoms.
And I do credit Tommy for a vision, you know, sharing a lot of my vision in the beginning, but at a certain point, an artist grows, a person grows, a human being grows, and if someone stifles that person at a certain point, and I'm not saying he stifled me, but I'm just saying in general, at a certain point, anybody is gonna snap and have to fly.
For the final stretch of the marriage, they struck a cold arrangement. Public appearances together, separate lives at home. During this uneasy stalemate, Mariah met Derek Jeter at an Armani after-party in late 1996. Both were biracial, both understood scrutiny. She later said it was the idea of him, freedom, a normal life, that felt magnetic. Their discreet romance gave her courage. He was only the second man she had been intimate with. As whispers spread and Tommy's behavior frayed further, she knew she had to move. She hired a new lawyer, drafted divorce papers, got Tommy to sign them, and flew to the Dominican Republic where mutual consent divorces could be finalized in days. By early 1997, she had broken from his personal control. In March 1998, the divorce became official. Professionally, he still ran Sony. As her contract neared its end, she pressed Sony's leadership for more creative control and made it clear she would not re-sign while Tommy remained in charge. Freedom showed up in the music immediately. In September 1997, Mariah released Butterfly. The title said everything. She embraced the hip-hop and R&B producers she had long admired, including Sean Combs and Missy Elliott. The sound was warmer, more rhythmic, more her. The image followed, sensual, confident, self-directed. Most of all, the songs came without the old interference. Butterfly arrived in September 1997, carrying a message anyone could hear. The lyrics leaned toward independence and release. The arrangements left room for breath, ad-libs, and grit. Mariah embraced the hip-hop and R&B producers she had long admired, including Sean Combs and Missy Elliott. The sound was warmer, more rhythmic, more her. Listeners heard a person stepping into the light and learning to stay there. Honey became her 12th number one, but the video carried a bolder statement. Mariah plays a captive agent held in a mansion. She outwits her captors, dives into a pool, and swims to freedom. The sets echo the Bedford estate. Shots through stair rail shadows suggest bars. She was telling viewers the cage had opened and she was gone. Fans treated the videos like coded messages, pausing frames and cheering the escape. Butterfly debuted at number one and drew praise as a peak in her catalog. After Mariah left and sold the Bedford property, the empty mansion burned to the ground in 1999 due to an electrical fire. The chapter closed with ash where a gate had stood. With her Columbia contract finished in 1999, Mariah left Sony entirely. In 2001, she signed a record-setting $100 million deal with Virgin Records. The first project was Glitter, a film and soundtrack set in the 1980s club scene. Instead of a triumph, it became a storm. She worked 20-hour days filming and recording without rest. By late July 2001, she was hospitalized for extreme exhaustion. The soundtrack dropped on September 11, 2001, and promotion became impossible. Reviews were harsh and sales sank. Early in 2002, Virgin paid out her contract to part ways. Headlines mocked her as finished. In late 2002, Mariah signed with Island Def Jam and launched her own imprint, Monarch Entertainment. The scale was smaller, but the trade-off was control. Through 2004, she built a new sound with producers who trusted her instincts, especially Jermaine Dupri. We Belong Together became the centerpiece of the emancipation of Mimi. The song dominated charts, sitting at number one for 14 weeks. Billboard later named it the Song of the Decade for the 2000s. The album sold over 10 million copies worldwide. She won 3 Grammy Awards. Success became proof that freedom makes better art than control ever did. Her catalog reached new generations too. All I Want for Christmas Is You became a perennial holiday phenomenon. In 2025, the song achieved its 20th week at number one. becoming the longest reigning #1 hit in Billboard history. In 2020, she released The Meaning of Mariah Carey, detailing the surveillance and control inside her marriage.
What I would be.
Do you believe that there would be the Mariah Carey who is a huge success that we know you to be today without Tommy Mottola? Of course, you'd be Mariah Carey, but would you be at this level?
Yes. Well, I always believed that this would happen.
Did
The
you?
revelations pushed a wider conversation about power in entertainment. Her voice made her famous. Her resolve made her lasting. The once captive teenager became the author of her story, and that transformation from hostage to hero may be her greatest hit of all.